track number 2. Let's just start over from the top. We'll punch it in. Track number 2 is
Exactly.
Find My Way.
Well, I can find my way. I know my left from right because we never close. I'm open day and night.
So speaking of obscure instruments, here's where the harpsichord comes into play at the opening of this song.
Yeah, it's kind of got that powerful pop kind of chord strike kind of going on. It reminds me of like the way that the Badfinger in the 70s were doing it.
Yeah.
So definitely kind of just got like some good strength behind it.
Yeah, pop is a good way of calling it too, because like this is a pretty upbeat song. I think more than I had anticipated as well for this one. It's just kind of got that feel good sound to it. He does a really cool job though with his vocals because he does that speech level singing in the verse, and then when he gets into the chorus, it really opens up and he hits that falsetto like pretty good. Like he still got it, man. His vocals sound really good.
Yeah, definitely. This one was the first one that's kind of clean. The first song was kind of a little bit, little muffled in with the music, but one of his best vocal parts here is kind of going back to the pop concept aspect at 102. How do you not love that? Ooh, oh yeah piece? You know, a bit of innocence is brought out with it, kind of a lighthearted kind of a way to do it, and it still sounds pretty good with his vocals.
It does really sound good. One sound that I'm a fan is right after that. So 110, you have this
110.
like horn synth come in. Horns weren't credited on any of the information that I saw, so I think it might just all be synth generated. But one thing you're hearing in there too is he's using a Moog bass synthesizer, and that's what makes that really cool sound at about 118. And it does that it dribbles out. It's like, and I'm pretty sure that's the bass synth that you're hearing, and that creates a really cool sound. And it sent me down a rabbit hole of trying to figure out what this instrument was. And I'm not a gearhead, like I don't geek out to gear that much, but for some reason this caught my ear. So I just started looking up Moog basses, and I don't know if he's using a newer one or an older one, because some older ones had like foot pedals, were used by like Rush and bands like that. But there's this new one. There's it's called like a Minitar Moog bass synthesizer. It's like $500. I'm like, I want that, but
nice.
Maybe some other day.
Oh, I wonder if it's like the harmonium where he still has got the original one from Abbey Road that they used on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious
on
just
that, and I wonder
what kind of gear he has. Is it a lot of the original stuff? Does he get new stuff? Is it a little bit of both, which is probably the right answer?
Yeah. Well, I wonder, because he's not a gearhead himself.
Right.
So but yet he is sentimental, more or less, and I think that's where it would probably play into.
He did describe himself as a keeper in one of the interviews that I read. He said it's not a hoarder, but he said because he grew up poor, like he always kept things because he just had that mindset drilled into him as a kid, like you never know when you might lose it, sort of thing. So he said he would keep all like the little toys that he'd get, from like catalogs or whatever that sent things or whatever. But so, it wouldn't be surprising to me to find out that he has kept most of the gear that he's been able to keep to this day and is using a lot of that, in addition to mixing in the new stuff, because his sound has evolved a lot over the years and he's gotten experimental here and there. So I'm sure he's acquired a bunch of gear along the way, but I'm curious what he owns and what he has and what he has access to.
Yeah. Well, he did buy a left-handed Les Paul from Willie's Guitar here in St. Paul, about like 1995-ish. And we believe that's to be my dad's, because my dad had a custom 1971 Les Paul with gold trim, and they just never made left-handed guitars until it was more custom in the 80s. And so this was a 70s Les Paul that he bought from Willie's Guitar in St. Paul, and we think it's my dad's.
No shit.
So he is a collector of old guitars, and he goes anywhere for them, and that's included here. So I've always wanted to send him a letter, so maybe we can put this out as a plea or something. Give me my dad's guitar back,
or
Paul.
just see if you can even confirm that it's the guitar. That'd be cool enough. Be like, keep the guitar. I just want to know if it's the guitar.
I know, and that's the worst part too, is that those Les Pauls, when my dad got it, they didn't keep catalogization until like 73, 74. So it would be very difficult to kind of prove it, but it'd be sweet if it was.
That'd be really cool.
I want to find my way back to my dad's guitar. No, just kidding.
So this song is pretty lyrically simple. Verse 2 is basically just a repeat. Well, I can find my way. I know my left from right because we never close. I'm open day and night. Same thing over and over. Chorus is the same too. It sings that every other verse. I know my way around. I walk towards the light. I'm open round the clock. I don't get lost at night.
Yeah, I wrote for my lyric comment. Lyrically kind of weak, ... The same repeating 2 verses and chorus. Yeah.
Lyrically, it's okay. I mean, it's kind of got a cool theme, I guess, of like being there, but able to find his way kind of thing. But yeah, lyrically, it's kind of simple, but there's some cool music stuff, and you really hear all those different instruments. And I like that little jam medley that comes in at about 250. And that's kind of, you start with like the bass synth dribbling in. There's a nice big pause there, which I'm always a fan of to like set the stage. And so everything stops right before 250, and then boom, that jam starts, and you hear the bass synth, and then the electric guitars come in, the bass comes in, and just ends on that sweet bass synth again.
Yeah, it goes from like pop to kind of like a playful psychedelic almost. I really like the playfulness of this. This song really is more all about the music and the delivery of the pop aspect to it. It's definitely not meant for pretty. It's meant for pretty boys, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty boy song.